I want to thank you all for being here. Welcome to the March Economic Business Forum Lunch, hosted by the Strategic Economic Development Corporation, known as SEDCOR. I'm Mark Hoyt, a partner in the law firm of Sherman, Johnny & Hoyt. It's my privilege to be the board chair for SEDCOR. One quick reminder, please silence your cell phones. The commissioners are here. We understand there's sheriffs in the background. If they go off, they will be confiscated. Today we welcome Marion County Commissioners Kevin Cameron, Sam Brentano, and Colum Willis as they present the 2019 Marion County State of the County. For more than a decade, the commissioners have kicked off their kind of county-wide tour with the state of the county with SEDCOR. So that tells you they either have great respect for our organization or they think we are good guinea pigs. But this is their first presentation. It will be followed by 20 cities around the county. That demonstrates the breadth of the service that these commissioners perform for us. It also demonstrates their commitment. They run over 15 agencies, including the Marion County Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, the Fair Board, Health and Human Services, and work with numerous other agencies. If you have any opportunity to interact with these gentlemen, you will know how much they work and how hard they work. These are true public servants. It is our privilege to be here today to hear them present on what is going on in our county, what is happening, what challenges it faces, and the achievements that they have accomplished in the past and those that they look forward to accomplishing in the future. So I'm excited to hear what they have to say. A few quick announcements. Our next Economic Business Forum lunch is April 10th. It will feature a presentation from the Federal Bureau of Investigation regarding business email compromise, a global perspective. It is a very real threat. Those of you who haven't experienced it yet will at some point in time. Please come find out how to make that as far in the future as possible. Before I turn it over to our guest speakers, I want to take a moment to thank the following 2019 Economic Business Forum lunch sponsors: Western Oregon University, Rich Duncan Construction, Oregon State Credit Union, MAPS Insurance Services, Kaiser Permanente, Dalkey Construction, Chemeketa Community College, Sherman, Johnny & Hoyt. Quick round of applause for our sponsors. Thank you. With that, it is my privilege to welcome Brandon John, the Business Loan Officer for the Oregon State Credit Union, up to say a few words and introduce the commissioners in their presentation. Thank you.
Not as tall. Welcome, everybody. To start off, Oregon State Credit Union wants to thank you guys for allowing us to be valuable, or not us valuable, us, sorry, to be SEDCOR, part of our membership, and be a member of SEDCOR since 2004. It's been a while since I've been up speaking in front of a lot of people, if you don't notice. The last one was actually an auction for a local small school, so if I talk really fast, I apologize. I'll try to slow down. We're 65 years young this year, and one of the crazy things is we've grown into all 24 Oregon counties that we're a part of. We now have 113 memberships, which is wonderful, supporting the 4 local branches out here in this area, and we're at 1.4 billion assets, which is a far cry from the shoebox that we started off in Corvallis 65 years ago. While I'm your local commercial loan officer, our small business team has grown significantly and tenfold, now growing over $140 million in a loan portfolio in commercial lending. We have built a loan portfolio that includes taking care of Marion and Polk area, Monmouth, Dallas, West Salem, Kaiser, and Woodburn. Very valuable communities to us, and we enjoy our time out in those areas. I'd like to introduce the 3 people that are also here today from Oregon State Credit Union. First off is West Salem Branch Manager, Nathan Wirch. Marion, Polk, and Lincoln County Regional Manager, Peggy Mayo. And the Assistant Vice President, Business Development Officer, Mike Corwin. Now you may ask why I'm up here instead of Mike today. It's because I didn't show up to a meeting. I also didn't receive an invitation, so that was difficult. So with that, let's go ahead and introduce our Marion County Commissioners today. First off is Sam Brentano. Commissioner Sam Brentano was appointed to the Marion County Board of Commissioners in November 2003 and went on to win re-election in 2004, 2008, 2012, and 2016. He serves on the board of directors of the Association of Oregon and California Counties and is working to secure the future of rural communities through revitalization of the timber industry through practical management of Oregon forests. Commissioner Brentano pushed for improvements to the I-5 Woodburn interchange and continues to support a third bridge in Salem and expanded access to Cordon Road. In addition, he is working to mobilize county resources to replace a flood-damaged bridge in Turner. Food damage, that'd be interesting. I'd like to see that news article. Commissioner Brentano served as mayor of the city of Sublimity from 1982 and 1983. That's a metropolis out there from area. 82 to 93. He holds business degree from OSU and retired in 2001 from his position as president and general manager of United Dispose Services. That is Sam Brentano. Next up, Colum Willis. Commissioner Colum Willis was elected to his first term in 2018. Prior government experience includes serving as an aide in the United States Senate for the Joint Economic Committee analyzing economic data and staffing congressional hearings with Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke. Commissioner Willis is a licensed business attorney and has represented individuals, nonprofits, entrepreneurs in the Willamette Valley. He volunteers on the Catholic Community Services Foundation Board of Directors. Commissioner Willis earned a Bachelor of Arts from Boston College and Juris Doctor from the Willamette University College of Law. He lives in Staten with his wife and 4 daughters. Colum Willis. Commissioner Kevin Cameron was appointed to the Board of Commissioners in June of 2014 and elected in November 2014. Commissioner Cameron represents Marion County on the Marion County Economic Development Advisory Board, Marion County Budget Committee, and on the Marion County Extension and 4-H Service District, among others. Prior to being elected on the Marion County Board of Commissioners, he served in the Oregon House of Representatives, representing the residents of House District 19 for 5 terms. Commissioner Cameron served as the Assistant House Republican Leader from 2008 to 2010 and was on the House Republican Leader from 2010 to 2012. He is a business marketing graduate of Oregon State University, you see a theme, and holds an honorary doctorate from Corban University. Our 3 county commissioners. Jeff, come on up. No, come on up. Uh-oh. He'll wear it.
I know you will.
Thanks, Sam. Sorry, sir.
Well, good afternoon. It really means a lot to see all of you here, and this is our one opportunity to kind of tell a story about Marion County with a pretty favorable group of people, I think, and I enjoy it very much. I finished getting this together, and I realized this is supposed to be state of the county, but I don't talk about the state of the county, and quick query with the other 2, they don't either. So let me just tell you this. I believe Marion County's in great shape. We have excellent employees, excellent department heads, and elected officials with one exception, and you can figure out who that is. We're updating and have updated our facilities, but it just did not let it slide. There's 2 of them sitting over there, our CEO, John Latimer, and his assistant, Jan Fritz. They're the ones that make it hum, and you just have to acknowledge that, and I want people to be aware of it. Now, Jolene, thank you. I know, it's killing me. Jolene Kelly just put this together. More than the state of the county, what I'd like you to do is just kind of listen to all the different subjects that the county's involved in. There's a number of them here. We'll be talking about a number of them, and I bet it's only half. Just about anything that has to do that humans can do, we seem to run into. It's a most interesting position. So, they gave me 10 minutes. I'm not counting the little prelude there. Well, that shouldn't be against me. That was a group effort. But I have one other fun thing I want to do. We had the most interesting meeting last May 2nd. It was at Shampooey Park, and it was the 175th anniversary of Marion County. We had Greg Leo, a local historian, gave a rundown of the era and some events since, and Dr. David Lewis, a Grand Ronde historian, talked about the Indian perspective. It was really good. I just enjoyed it. It may have been the best meeting that in my 15 years. And outside, this only means something to you, but I should just ask, how many can identify a camas plant? Huh? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, it's probably next to Douglas fir, the most important plant in Oregon history. And I'd always heard of it. And finally, coming outside in their little flower bed is a whole, I got it. It's a nice blue thing. It'll be coming up in May, and I want you to watch for them. So I'm a real Oregonian, and you can be too. So here's just a couple interesting facts. There was 4 original counties, Champooey County. Am I doing this right? That's Champoeg, and then Champooey, and finally Marion. But it went from the Willamette to Wyoming and down to the California border. So we've lost a little ground since then. I don't quite know. I mean, well, it's hard to drive up to Idana to do something. It would really be a killer. You got to run over to Bozeman. But it would have been fun. I don't know how we got down so small, but we're still a special county, highest ag production in the whole state. Very proud of it. A couple other little factors here, facts. The first meeting of the Marion County Court, that's the commission, we used to be judges. I'd wear this hat if I was a judge. No. Anyway, that was held November 19th, 1849, so we have another anniversary coming up. The first Marion courthouse opened up in 1854, and it's significant because in 1857, 3 years later, actually hosted the Oregon Constitutional Convention. So we've been at the center for a long time. And this last one, there's a whole list of them here, but the last one that kind of stuck out to me was that on July 7th, 1864, Marion County deeded land to the Oregon State Agricultural Society to hold the annual state fair. So we give it to them, and now, do you know, they charge us rent every year how does that happen? Maybe it's good there aren't any judges anymore. So I've got 3 or 4 things to say. I'm going to get a little nastier than I usually do, so kind of get ready. But this first part isn't. This first part is just facts and figures. And I kind of give this report every year. And it has, the first I'll do is roads and bridges. We resurfaced 21.6 miles of roadway in 2018, and we'll do 25 in 2019. We chip sealed 63.4 miles this year. Now the significance is there were years in the last 15 years where we did none. Our goal is to do like 25 miles each year, keep up on things. But when timber money's disappeared, there was no money to do anything with. And now we're seeing some gas tax revenues and getting in some better shape and really getting after them. We have a new public works director, Brian Nicholas, who I hope you get to meet, and making a big effort. Building permits might be interesting to some of you. We had 7,796 last year, and just a few higher, 8,061. I only bring it up because the pace of construction is still going on hard here in Marion County. I hear home sales might be slowing. I hope not. But that growth is important to us, and whether we've publicly stated, I'll do it here, we're not big on raising taxes, we're not big on raising fees. If there's going to be more revenues to provide the services the county does, we want it to come from growth. A quick deal on parks. Scotts Mills had a big makeover, repaved the parking lot, new restrooms, new picnic area, covered trails in Almsville and Minnow Parks. And we hired another maintenance person. We really made a bigger effort. You may recall, I think Kevin spent most time on it, but we really made an effort in the North Sandiam, Little North Fork area in the last couple years, and now we're looking at all the parks to make them accessible, clean, and used. I'm pretty happy about it. Spong's Landing has a new restroom that's very nice and available for urban use. And just this morning, we traded, kind of a funny thing, we traded the Auburn Park that was next to Auburn School in East Salem to the school district, and they'll be able to expand the school, their playground. It was a little harder than you think. We've been all in favor of it, but we sold it for about $375,000, but the dollars originally came with federal strings, so apparently we can only use that $375,000 to buy some new park grounds somewhere. I have some places in mind. I saw the park director already getting nervous. One more real quick mention. We got into veteran service in the last couple of years. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I fought it, and it wasn't because I don't think that the veterans in Marion County deserve everything that they can get, and we honor their service. But it was because the state Department of Veterans was pawning off that service and keeping their budget fine and passing it down to the county, and I fought it. But we voted to do it, 2-1, just so you know. But here's the fact of it. Since we are voting, I want to do the best job we can. We had a tough year. The veteran service officer takes a year to train and get ready. We thought we needed 2. We had 1. And now it looks like we're going to need 3. So this is going to be general fund money. I'm not opposed to it at all. Arches is running it, administering it for us. They're doing a good job. I want to find a better facility where it's convenient, safe, and encouraging for our veterans to go to. So why I bring this up, because if Marion County is going to do it, we're going to do it right, and we're going to honor those people. And that's my pledge. So just watch for that. So. So I'm probably already starting to go too long, but I have 3 important things I want to bring up. The first is our garbage burn. I'm just going to start it out by saying a statement that you've probably heard me say a time. I'm saying it just to reaffirm it, so bear with me. Our solid waste system, we take every bit of material and recycle it out of the waste stream that we can, send it into the garbage burner. There it's burnt, reduced, sterilized, electricity is drawn off of it. Then the ash goes through a magnetic that takes both ferrous and non-ferrous metals out, and the ash finally goes to Corvallis to be used one more time as daily cover. It's the most comprehensive system in Oregon and probably the United States. So it's a key time right now. We're trying to negotiate with Covanta on the contracts about up the next 5 to 10 years. Our goal, I can just say it out loud, I hope I'm not giving any away strategy, but we want to hold the rates where they are now. They were held for 30 years. We raised them 3 years ago, and we want them to stay there, so we want to continue. We think it's the best system there is. But there's a couple things that matter. This House Bill 2020, I'll call it cap and trade tax and swindle. Just get used to that. Right now, we're exempted, but they're trying to make the case that the carbon given off at the burner is damaging. Well, carbon, I don't know. But I'll tell you what is damaging, it's methane. And methane is 90 to 120 times more potent a greenhouse gas. Well, when it goes through our burner, there is no methane. All the organics are gone. But it goes to the landfill, and I don't care how they tell you they cover it and they recover it, it's going to go into the atmosphere. Because most of it's in an open working phase. Then think about it. New material comes in, when's the rotting happen? Right away. So we need to keep that exemption to hold those rates the same. I'm leaving something out, but I'm probably too long anyway. So I'm going to go on to the bad one here. The horrible Salem City Council vote on the bridge. Now, I got to stop right there because my dad, I loved him, and he had some rules. And when things didn't go well, he'd tell you, get over it, deal with it. And the most important rule was that you never burn any bridges. But you know what? There's no bridge to burn. So let me I've kind of set the tone. I'll just say it. I'll say just what I wrote. In a word, irresponsible, added a second word, unforgivable, set the region's mobility and economy back decades, nerve to suggest they have an alternative crossing as a fallback that was both disingenuous and diversionary. And now there's more damage to do. You know, there's kind of 2 ways to come in from the east and from the freeway, Mission or State Street. Mission's always backed up. I think we all know that, and it's crowded as can be, so an alternative has been State Street. They have a new plan in Salem where they're going to take away lanes. It'll be very nice for the community, and I wish you could have both. But if all traffic has to funnel through those 2 ways to get across the bridge or even to the downtown, they better make provisions for people to come. They just set us back horribly. So there is some positives. I guess instead of worrying about the 3rd bridge, there's other things we've been working on hard. Corden Road interchange, Brook Lake interchange, Newburgh-Dundee bypass, and the Donald interchange. The good news on Donald is that it's moving. We actually have money money in, making the plan, what they call an IAMP interchange. I don't know what the A is, management plan. They're speeding it up. Just got an email from Brian a bit ago. Things are going to happen. I make a prediction that there's actually a new interchange at Donald. And those of you who have driven it, it's about the most dangerous place we got around. Cars backing up on the freeway, trucks crashing underneath. Just watch the news. About once a week, not just in that interchange, but certainly within 5 miles, there's a serious accident. So we're going to spend some real time on that. And I'm not to try to be vindictive, and I want to get off the subject, but I'm going to spend more time. If I got a couple years left, or how many, I want to lay some groundwork for another bridge crossing, probably bypassing Salem. I think to the north, Brook Lake Road would be possible. Yeah, that'd be a huge undertaking. You know, all the roadway clear to the river, bridge across, and maybe up to 99 McMinnville or somewhere. That'd cost a whole bunch more. But maybe I can get a little groundwork done, and that's what I'm going to try to do. So the last thing I want to say, tax and swindle. So I wrote this down. This is how I really think about it. You all know this is House Bill 2020, supposed to save all our lives by getting rid of carbon that doesn't matter. Here's what I say, what it really is, and I'd like you to kind of listen and keep track of this when you use it, because the bill is about revenue generation, wealth redistribution, and control with no measurable improvement to the environment. I absolutely believe that. It'll raise gasoline, electricity, and natural gas. This is important. All to make the symbolic statement that Oregon is a leader and at least tries something. So I hope we get a chance to vote on it. That'd be the best. I don't know if they will. I'm sure they'll make a mercy. But you know what? If you're going to criticize things, you got to have an alternative, and I got a backup plan, and I'd like maybe you can pass this on to the governor. Here it is. This is pretty good. This is my own plan. So the next time there's a heat wave rolling into Oregon, the governor tells every Oregonian, young and old, to go outside and at a given point face into the wind and blow just as hard as they can. I mean, just as long as they can go. Now, it'll have just as much effect as what they're planning under this bill. And number two, it won't cost anything. And even, you know what the best is? We can all say we tried. Thank you.
Wow. I don't. I'm not even going to try. Wow. So I'm going to start by talking about homelessness in our community. It's not nearly as amusing. It's much more serious. But it's important to our community. As you all know, we have a homeless crisis here in Marion County. And I represent Marion County on the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative. On Monday, I went out with one of our lead navigators, Josh Lair. And if you guys don't know Josh, I would recommend that you meet him. I was really impressed. I think LEAD has been a program that's been going on for a few years, so I imagine that most people have heard about it. It's our law enforcement assisted diversion program. It started a few years back with a grant from our CCO. And then recently we got a new grant from the Department of Justice, just over $1 million. So we now have 2 lead navigators, and we're working on hiring a third. And it was remarkable. So I went out with Josh. Josh used to live in a shelter and was involved in our SOAR program. And we were walking down town Salem, and it was like I was walking with the mayor of Salem. Just about everybody on the street knew him, came up to us, and you know, with homelessness, it can be sort of an issue where depending on who you talk to, you get a different reaction or response. You know, you'll talk to some people who will say, "Oh, this is just a law enforcement problem. We just need to hire more police. We need to have more jail beds. We need to make more arrests, and homelessness gets solved." And then you talk to other people, and they say, "Oh, this is a services problem. What we need to do is we need to raise taxes, and we need to provide more services, and then homelessness gets solved." And I've always found both of those to be just not in touch with reality. They don't ring true to me. But it's been hard for me to understand, how do we address homelessness? How do we help the people in our community who are living on our streets or in camps? And we have a lot of folks in that situation here. At the last count, we had over 2,600 people who were unhoused in Marion and Polk counties, with 800 who are chronically homeless. That's a lot of people. And one of the things I saw when I was with Josh was he has a very person-centered approach to addressing this. So instead of treating it like a 1,000-foot policy level, people would come to him and he would help them with everything from how to get a ride, how to get a cell phone, how to schedule their day. There's somebody who came up and just needed some advice on, I need to go to the mail, but I also need to get to my treatment appointment, and I don't know, how should I do this? And he was tough when he needed to be, and he was kind when he needed to be, and he was just very in touch with reality, for lack of a better word. And I was just very impressed with that, and really gave me a lot to think about. And I was also privileged to be with Josh and Melanie and to be invited to go to a hearing at juvenile court for a woman who was admitting to some of the charges against her as a way, because of her love for her children and for a desire to help them and hope to be reunited with them. And just incredibly humbling and impressed with the courage that she had and the importance of our lead navigators in that process. We were sitting in the lobby and her attorney said, okay, it's time for us to go. And 2 minutes later, the attorney came back and said she wants you guys to be there. She wants you there to sit with her. And it was just very clear to me that she was doing something that took a lot of courage and strength, and her trust in Josh and Melanie and in the LEAD program was fundamental to her making that decision and doing that. It wasn't accidental or nice, it was fundamental. And so that really impacted me. But one of the problems that we talked about, and one of the things that we explored and I learned about, is we have a lot of resources in our community, but one resource that we don't have a lot of is housing. We don't have a lot of places for people to live if they do want to come off the streets. And so one of the initiatives we're exploring is reconstituting a Marion and Polk continuum of care. Continuum of care is a federal program based out of HUD, where federal resources are poured into a community to help address homelessness in a community. And right now we're part of a 28-county continuum of care. And it's hard for us to really focus on Marion and Polk counties in the Salem area when there's that many different communities that are trying to direct those resources. So we're looking at that, and we hope that we'll be able to make some progress there. And one of the things that we're also doing is we're looking at housing more generally, because housing isn't just an issue for folks who are homeless, but it's an issue for folks in the middle class as well. The median income here in Marion County is about $51,000 a year, and there are a lot of families that are having a hard time affording a place to live, making that kind of money. And I can tell you a lot of my peers are several years out of college, they have student loans, they're working, they're doing the right things, and they're really having trouble being able to buy their own homes. So I'm excited to announce that we're starting a housing initiative in Marion County. And we're going to be starting a series of meetings, getting as much information as possible, and putting together a comprehensive policy document addressing both housing affordability in Marion County, housing supply, and ways that we can potentially address those things, improve housing supply in Marion County, and promote home ownership in Marion County. And the commissioners have agreed to allow me to chair that initiative, and I'm going to do my best so that they don't regret it. Finally, I'm also working on healthcare here in Marion County. I'm on the Willamette Valley Community Health Board, which is our local area CCO. And in January, that organization decided that it would not be applying for the new contract and would be going out of existence. So we're going to have a new CCO coming up in 2020 and potentially more than one new CCO. The good news is we have a number of very, very good healthcare providers in Marion County. We're really blessed in this community, and we're excited to continue to work with our partners in healthcare. So regardless of whether we have one new CCO or two or whatever the situation is going forward, I'm confident that we're going to be just fine, and we're going to continue to work with our healthcare partners in the community. Our Health and Human Services Department is headed by Carrie Muller, who's here today. She's doing a great job. And we are continuing to implement our strategic plan based on a review process that was started in 2017. I'm excited to help our county lean into our strengths when it comes to population health and behavioral health. And in particular in behavioral health, I think we have a great story to tell. We really do a great job and provide a lot of behavioral health care here in Marion County. This year, the department partnered with many of our providers in the area on a zero suicide initiative, which helped to standardize behavioral health evaluations across providers. And I just am incredibly proud that we have a community and a county that is willing to put resources into recognizing the value and the dignity of every human person in our community. And I'm also finally excited about the remodel that Salem Health is doing on our Psychiatric Crisis Center. If you haven't visited that, I really recommend it. I got to do a tour there, and I'm very impressed with the work that Anne Marie and her staff do there. But frankly, the building they're in right now is kind of shabby. And so I'm grateful that Salem Health is putting resources into remodeling it and making it worthy of the work that goes on there. I'm excited about that. And I'm grateful for that partnership that we have. It's pretty cool that we have a group of county employees doing important work on a private healthcare campus in partnership with that healthcare provider. And I hope that this can be a model for how we work with other providers here in Marion County. So with that, I'm going to end and let Kevin talk about Murakami.
Well, Commissioner, I want to congratulate you. You stayed under your 10 minutes. I won't say anything about Sam. Well, I'm going to say a couple things about Sam. Because he's the only person I can make a joke about without offending anybody. We discussed that. We could do that. First of all, when you said whatever that plant was, I thought you said cannabis plant. Does anybody know what a cannabis plant? And then when I listened to his speech up here, it reminded me of, I think when I was a state representative, I sat out there with all of you and listened to him give a speech, and I walked up to him afterwards. I think this was in 2009. I walked up to him afterwards and I said, obviously you're not planning on running for re-election. And it's the same every time, and the guy just does it, and I love working with both these gentlemen. So I want to say thank you to all of you, members of SEDCOR, and for this 3-county region. And I know this is the state of the county, but SEDCOR works throughout this region. Polk, Yamhill County, I don't know if you know that, but we have a contract with Yamhill County. And I thought maybe Commissioner Pope would be in the room today and share a little bit, but we work cross-jurisdictional with Polk County, our health department, and a lot of things that we do that you've heard about. It's not just isolation. We're not just in a silo, and you can be proud of that we work with all kinds of different levels of organizations. But we are going to build a wall between Clackamas County and Marion County and make them pay for it. And I'll tell you, they have fought us every tooth and nail, Wilsonville and Clackamas County, on the airport, Aurora Airport extension. And we've got a contract that's in, or a grant that's in for $37 million for free money, not free, it's your money, but it was coming from the federal government. And we have jurisdictions outside our jurisdiction that are fighting us on it. So keep watching that one. But I want to acknowledge, in all seriousness, all of the people that work for Marion County. And I want you to stand if you work for Marion County or even have worked for Marion County, because it's not just the 3 of us here. It's the 1,700 employees in Marion County and beyond that do it. So if you're here and you're from Marion County, please stand. Well, now you know why we invite so many people, because the room would be half full if it wasn't for the county employees. And the other thing I think they're here is because we don't communicate well, so they want to hear what's really going on, right? And it would not be a right day if I didn't recognize former Commissioner Janet Carlson, who's not here with us today, but I was on a conference call with her this morning with the mayor of Salem and talking about the COC that Commissioner Willis mentioned. And I had to make the statement that we still have 4 Marion County commissioners, as Janet is still doing work in our community in really good ways. And so I just want to recognize her today. But preparing for today, I went and reviewed our presentation from last year, because I didn't want to make sure I wasn't saying the same things and Rich is going, you said that last year. But it's true, you know, a lot hasn't changed, but some things have changed. And I wanted to go back even further than just this year. If you want to go back with me for, in this particular region since 2007, Marion County and our partners have been working. We've brought over $27 million in federal grants, state grants, to certain projects that have been completed for the taxpayers, and your money has come back. So highlighting some of those projects, one, as Sam referred to, the Woodburn Interchange was $3.3 million. North Fork Road, which is a gateway to Opal Creek Wilderness area, 2 grants for over $7.3 million to repair a slide and keep that road open for the citizens that live there and the visitors that come from the tourists. Meth reduction, going back to 2007, $3.8 million came to this community to help reduce the meth epidemic in our public safety area. And then public safety, second chance reentry grants, this last year or before this last year of over $2 million. This past year alone, $9.9 million came into the county from the federal grants. An $8.1 million grant in Mill City for the Tiger Grant to repair that bridge for transportation and economic development. You just need to know we don't have lines in Marion County. Lynn County has 700 employees in the canyon in 2 mills up there, and they need that infrastructure. And they're also going to restore the old railroad bridge as a footbridge to connect their parks up. LEAD, which is Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, and I know the sheriff is here, our DA is here, and our judges, they all work together, and you heard Colum talk about his visit with our LEAD coordinator. We received $1.3 million in grants so that we can hire a 3rd LEAD coordinator, which will keep people out of jail, which will help get them the services they need and turn their lives around and help us to have a better community and change lives. And then the last thing I want to highlight is the Secure Rural School Fund. We've had $500,000 sitting in an account that the sheriff could not use to patrol the forest areas that the U.S. Forest Service and BLM do not patrol, but rely on us to do. We got that fixed this year with our federal delegation, and we are able to use that for patrols up in the forest. So this year, my timer went off. I know how long you went. So this year, let me tell you what our continued agenda is. We're looking to do broadband in the canyon. We had a meeting yesterday. We're hoping to get about a $3 million grant. We don't know how much it's going to take, but to get broadband from Mill City up to Idana and Detroit. And I'll give you one example. 2 weeks ago on a Monday night, I live in Detroit, and 2 weeks ago on a Monday night, the only way I could communicate was through DSL and WhatsApp on my phone because the Verizon tower had gone down and our sheriff had lost their repeater tower up there, and there's a snowstorm going on. So we need some more communication up in our canyon for our rural citizens. The canyon wastewater. Danielle, you're here. Danielle Gonzalez, we're sitting with the mayor of Detroit, yeah. So Danielle has been working in the canyon for the last 3 years, right? And we are really close to forming a service district with all the cities up there that will help move forward potentially a sewer system in the canyon for economic development and for your drinking water down here. I don't want to get too graphic, right? But it's important that we have that infrastructure in the canyon. And Danielle, I want to thank you for that work. And it's a $60 million project, but we're taking it a piece at a time, and we're going to work really hard to find that funding. I already mentioned the Aurora Airport extension. We're going to work on that. Workforce, low-income housing, Colum just talked about that. The Detroit Fish Passage. I'm not going to go into detail. We'll take some time for questions, but we have some challenges in the canyon with water. We have the Detroit Fish Passage, which you've heard and read a lot about. Maybe you read the Statesman Journal just the other day, and I see Bill back there wrote about how they're pushing this back a little bit. So our work is paying off. The city of Salem entered into the lawsuit. We entered into the lawsuit. And so we're going to get some sort of realistic plan here, hopefully by May. But there's another issue. The BIOP, the 2008 biological opinion, is being reopened. And that's going to affect water and where water goes. And then the last thing is the reallocation of water. And we are fighting Metro, who now has water rights out of this river, and how is that water going to be impacted as it flows through? We're going to hire consultants because Tom Hogue from our Economic Development Department's here, and he's a smart guy, but water is even smarter than him, right? So we got to get some help with that. Other areas that we're focused on in economic development, we have a strategic plan. We're budgeting those dollars towards infrastructure. We also fund partial SEDCOR, Travel Salem, and 20 cities. Marion County has the most incorporated cities of any county in the state of Oregon. So, water, sewer, roads, broadband, infrastructure. That's the type of thing that we need to help, because if we build it, they will come. If we make sure that it's built, they will come. Ag technology. Use an example. We are working, I saw President of Chemeketa, several people from Chemeketa. We're working with Chemeketa Community College to advance local ag innovation. We're funding in a position that's going to help us with that in taking care of our agriculture. We've invested, for example, we put a little money into Paramount Farms on a broccoli harvester with a local college and research. Because if we could harvest broccoli with automated situation, we can continue to have those kinds of crops. And the last thing I'll say is we're looking at Brooks-Hopmeyer, or the Brooks interchange, and how important that area is for future industrial and ag processing. And so we're working to make sure that that's developed in the right way, and there's going to need infrastructure. And then we did the, what was I going to say there? Oh, Donald Urban Growth Boundary. Last year I talked about that. We've now expanded the Donald Urban Growth Boundary so they can do workforce housing there and expand that a little bit. So Sam talked about this already. Donald Interchange is on our radar. And then we want to support 2 major airports. One here in Salem, which is working on commercial air, and Aurora for the extension for the industrial work that goes on up there. Public safety and livability. Colum's leading the East Salem Service District. If you incorporated the unincorporated area of Salem on the east side, it would be the 2nd or 3rd largest city in Marion County. It's all unincorporated. We're the governing body. We've added a public safety service district. The sheriff has 10 people in a process right now to add 10 deputies, which is a 30% increase in our deputy patrol service. It's going to be really good to help livability over there, as well as a lighting district that we were told was going to take 10 years, and I believe we have it on a 3-year plan now to put lights out there, and I see our Public Works Director shaking his head. All right. Other things in public safety. You have an amazing group of people in public safety. Just yesterday at our Public Safety Coordinating Council, we got an update on pretrial release. So what that does is we've got people going before judges that the judge is going to be able to determine that if this person gets the right supervision, we can keep them out of our jail until they have their trial, which will free up jail space for us to keep the people that need to be in jail. So it's just creative stuff that's going on, and I want to thank our public safety people that really work together and come out of their silos to make sure that your dollars are being used and your public safety is important. And then the last thing I'll just do is our budget highlights. Our total funds budget is $455 million in this fiscal year. Our general fund is $102 million. We have 1,510 FTEs, or approximately 1,700 employees. A PERS cost for the county is $24 million. But here's the big one. healthcare costs is $26 million. So healthcare costs has gone past PERS costs. So when you hear PERS is the elephant in the room, remember those are two equal elephants. Our payroll burden now is 60% of every dollar we pay in payroll for total burden. But here's the good news. $29 million we've invested in capital projects. That's in software, IT, a new sheriff's public safety building, health department, a new juvenile building, and we're going to leave this county's infrastructure better than what it was when we found it. We see that as a real priority. 78% of our funds go to public safety, between the sheriff, the jail, the DA, the juvenile, and the justice court. The last thing we're going to do this year is we're going to take this board on the road. Sam, you got to get on your bicycle because you don't have a bridge. We're going to go on the road where there's 3 areas that we're focused on: East Salem, the Canyon, and North County. And you think about that, those are areas that need help and representation, and we will be in those areas 2 times each in the evening, with evening board sessions followed by a town hall so that the public can come and listen and we can hear what their needs are. And I want to thank you again for allowing us to be here, for your encouragement and your support. And as members of SEDCOR and the Executive Council, I'm honored to serve with you and to serve with my 2 peers and the 1,700 employees of Marion County. Thanks for having us today.
I'm just curious, you mentioned the 60% burden on payroll costs. Have you compared that with averages across private enterprise?
In my head, yes, because I know I still own a business. I know what we pay. But no, we don't get to, statute doesn't allow us to compare to private enterprise. We have to compare to other counties. We don't even get to compare to the state when it comes to our compensation package. Trust me, there's things going on over in that building right now. There's a bill in the building, I can't remember the number of it. I gave it to John today and his blood pressure went up. What is it, 2016? The House Bill 2016 that would require us to pay for union representatives unlimited on any grievance. I mean, there's stuff going on in that building. That's one thing I skipped in my presentation is our future threats, our future challenges is what's going on in that building. It's going to impact you as private employers as well as government employers.
Questions? I'm coming over here. Who? Oh. Yep.
I understand that there's something going on in the legislature regarding, because of the Supreme Court regarding the unions, that the unions are now, they've got a bill in the legislature that Oregon will have an agency or government people make all of the people go to unions, and the government will oversee it and make sure they collect the money. Have you heard anything about that? Okay, I hit the nerve. Sorry.
You know what? We're trying to focus on just the things that impact our public safety. There are so many bills in the legislature right now that are just we can't track them all. So I don't know that we've heard about that particular issue.
That's cooking.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay, I'm coming over here. Someone raise their hand. It's a really tough crowd. Okay.
You talked about public safety, and I know in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I kept hearing about the Cascade Subduction Zone in preparation. I'm just curious if that's on your table now for continuing preparation and thought about that.
Do you want to talk about where Ed was with that?
Well, no, nothing's gone away. We know that's still out there. Unfortunately, and I was gonna talk about emergency management quite a bit, but one, I got too long, and number two, the guy that's been leading it, Ed Flick, who I think highly of, just turned in his resignation. doesn't mean that a Marion County's effort will diminish. He did give a report talking about the exercises they had. Some 450 volunteers through emergency management will keep them going, from radio operations to Red Cross and whatever. We take it very seriously, and that'll be a position when it get filled. But obviously it hasn't happened yet, but I worry about it. I think we all should.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Trent, Mayor of the City of Detroit. Thank you for this. More than anything, I'm taking every opportunity I can in public meetings like this to thank those three people up there for what they've been doing for the canyon, which is, I think, going to help the county in general in terms of economic development. We're kind of almost a third world country up there who is making huge progress thanks to what these people have done in providing Danielle Gonzalez to us and what she's doing. We hope that helps the water in Salem, but also helps with water for us in a dam, which is our economy. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Jim, thank you. Thanks for your service, and I'll shovel the snow again next year so you'll say those things, okay?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. Thank you to the Marion County employees that support you in what you do. I can tell you that I am proud to have these three gentlemen working as our commissioners, and I think they're having a positive impact on our community. So let's say thank you for them being here and what they're doing.